Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. It is Thursday morning, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the state visit, the French state visit. Emmanuel Macron, the King, and Camilla hosting the French president and his wife. The state banquet. It was gorgeous. Now, when these things happen, first of all, the banquet was held on July 8th, the visit 2 days ago. Um, these kind of things, there's always speeches. The king, he speaks French as well, so it was quite a. The speech, for the most part, it got him into trouble for a couple of things he said, and that's what we're going to talk about. But these kind of speeches. Oh, he talked about their shared history going back to Charlemagne and weaving history through Queen Victoria and this and that and their great ties with France and that's all very well and good. And these are the kind of speeches you would expect at an event like that. But he's sparked great controversy with this visit in discussing the close relationship between France and the UK. Amazingly, the king remarked that there were, quote, no borders between the two countries. No borders. A king to say there's no border. If you don't have borders, you can't define your realm. If there are no borders, there's no sovereignty. Not much use for a sovereign. That comment renders him just completely ineffectual and unnecessary. Very dangerous. Charles has a habit of doing this kind of thing, and further on in the speech, it just gets worse. Further on in the speech, when they're discussing shared challenges, well, the biggest shared challenge that they have, and it's been going on for years, is the migrant crisis. A lot of these third world sand people migrants have been basically trafficked across Europe. They've paid enormous sums, and they end up in France, and then what ends up happening, they're put on dinghies. There are people that organize this and take their money and put them on dinghies to cross over the British Channel. On the French side, the French Navy actually helps them on their way and makes sure they're safe. And on the British side, they land, and there are Coast Guard kind of an organ in place, and there's a plan in place. But what ends up happening is, if they're intercepted, they're helped to shore, and if not, they land. Not a lot different than here in Canada. I mean, we're just overrun with an influx of, let's call it what it is, illegal migration. And in the course of this speech, and they're talking about shared challenges, the king used the phrase irregular immigration. Won't even call it what it is. Won't even. I mean, this is such a political hot potato for him to even mention. And to mention it like that, like, oh, it's not really a big deal. There are no borders. There's a little bit of irregular immigration. Because you see, Britain sends France millions of dollars a year for them to be able to remediate the the crisis in France to stop the boats coming over. Boats keep coming. France pockets the money. It's a corrupt thing, and Britain is just getting hosed completely out of this. But I mean, their government is so inept right now too, and so this whole situation. I mean, they're being put up in hotels, and it's causing a lot of problems. Same as here in Canada. It's causing a lot of problems, and the people, the regular Brits that are seeing, they can't get help, they can't get benefits, but these people that cross in the boats are handed money and lodging, and it's the same here in Canada. It is, and it's not right, and it angers everybody. And Charles won't even call it what it is. I mean, in a state banquet, his role should not be political. He should not be discussing these things even in a polite way with the president. That should be up to the British Prime Minister. I mean, all our governments right now are it's a joke. Britain, Canada, Australia. Honest, the most incompetent group you could imagine across the Commonwealth, and you gotta think it's gotta be it's not by accident. They can't all be that stupid. So here you go. So Charles, get political. There's no borders between the countries. Just a little bit of a irregular immigration. We're gonna work to, make that better. Um, Really, really bad. It's a little bit more than putting his foot in his mouth. It's really dangerous territory for the king to wade into. You know. Um, so Charles has really upset political pundits, the populace, with his comments. Is that how he really feels? There's a lot of concerns people have about Charles, about how he feels about a lot of things. And like as I've said for 2 years now, Charles is going to alienate his subjects to the point he will be compelled to step aside for William. In my playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art, it outlines this whole thing. So take a look at it. And I mean, this is a huge example. The issues are just piling up and piling up and piling up. Evidence against Charles. He's a faulty sovereign. And we are getting closer and closer. The signs are popping up. You can feel it. I don't think it's going to be too long. I hope I'm right. We'll keep watching and see what happens. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.